Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're well. So I recently did a video on Luna Rossa Carbon, more specifically the new updated version of Luna Rossa Carbon, because brands nowadays just want to see the world burn. You had something that's been out for a while that people really like.
Screw them. Change it.
To be fair though, the changes in Luna Rossa Carbon, not massive, but at the same time that whole thing is going on, this whole thing is also going on. Luna Rossa Black, one of my favorite designer fragrances of the past forever. It also received the new fragrance treatment across different retailers in the US, Macy's, Sephora, etc. I think it's at Sephora. I know it's at Macy's. But it received that treatment where it's listed as a new fragrance and oh, the description changed a little bit. Oh, also the note breakdown changed a little bit too. Suspicious. Since I don't trust like that, I went ahead and bought a new fragrance bottle of Luna Rossa Black to compare side by side with my original bottle to see how different it is, and today I'll let you know. This will be linked in the description below, so feel free to check it out down there. If you purchase Luna Rossa Black from a retailer, you're pretty much guaranteed at this point to get the new version. Whatever that is. It's possible, but not really possible to tell if you buy from a discounter that you might get the original version. But again, it's pretty difficult to tell because if you reach out to them and say, hey, which version of Luna Rossa Black is this? You're gonna get an email back from somebody who basically is like, bro, I don't know anything about fragrances. I just work here, dude. I just get your emails. I tell you what you wanna hear, I send it to you. I don't care. If they were being honest with you, that's what they'd say. You know more than they do. Let's go ahead and kick this comparison off by taking a look at the presentation, and then we can start talking Luna Rossa Black. I love you. That's why I've got this shirt on. Everything's blending together because of the name. All right. The box. First off, on the front, you have the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size and concentration. Eau de Parfum 100 ml size. Has like a lightly rubberized texture at the top. I like it. On one side, you'll see this is a refillable bottle since everything is refillable nowadays. And then on the other side, you have a QR code, which will take you to Prada's website where you can purchase the fragrance that you have already purchased. That is the Luna Rossa experience. So what is the pricing on this bad boy? Well, full retail US 100 ml is $145, 50 ml $120, and a 150 ml refill $130. So a little bit more expensive than Luna Rossa Carbon. That is down to this being an eau de parfum and that one being an eau de toilette, which actually I was reading an article on Circana like 2 nights ago. It was an article from I think like 2023 or 2024, so not like a brand new one, but they were basically saying that fragrance brands have been concentrating more on eau de parfum and parfum concentrations because consumers are willing to pay more for them because it has more of a cachet to it. So they see eau de toilette and they go, ugh, eau de toilette, They see the same thing as an eau de parfum for like 30 bucks more and they go, ooh. Yeah, nice. Actually, I'm realizing at this point that it's like the Vince McMahon meme, except fragrances. Eau de toilette is the first one, eau de parfum, then parfum, and then elixir. The price keeps going higher and people go, oh yes. Guarantee you, somebody at one of these fragrance houses right now is thinking, okay dog, we need the next. Elixir, that was good, that was smart. Expensive, yes, good, but what is past elixir? We need to take it one further. More expensive. A new name. At least that's how I imagine how they're doing it. Anyway, I got sidetracked. Here is the bottle. You have again on the front, name of the fragrance, name of the house. Well, technically the name of the flanker, Black. This one is a little different from the original in that it is thinner overall. The atomizer is different. And on the bottom, the original had everything etched into the glass. Now it is a sticker. Badge code is 38Y7009. And you know what time it is. It's time to do a couple sprays. So we'll start off with the new version. There it is. Pretty nice. And we'll go ahead and waste a couple of the original. Also nice. Okay. Okay. So as I said, Luna Rossa Black is popping up as new, a new fragrance release on a bunch of different websites, which is what kind of got me interested in this to begin with. When I saw Luna Rossa Carbon, Luna Rossa Black popping up as new, it kind of, you know, raised a little red flag there. And then it was like, well, the note breakdown has changed, the description has changed, etc. So how is the note breakdown? How has it changed? Well, the original note breakdown is as follows. Off the top, angelica and bergamot. In the mid, coumarin, also known as tonka, and patchouli. In the base, amber and musk. And musk is kind of listed inconsistently. So some places had musk listed as an official note in the original, some places did not. So it really kind of depended on where you were looking as far as that goes. But that was the note breakdown for the OG, not like a really complex note breakdown or anything like that. The new version has 3 notes, yes. So they have reworked it, changed it around, and simplified it. That's a nice way to say it. They think that 6 notes is 3 too many. So that new note breakdown, off the top, pink pepper. Interestingly, not listed in the original note breakdown whatsoever. In the mid, tonka or coumarin, and then in the base, musk. So just as far as the note breakdown goes, that means the inclusion of pink pepper and the removal of angelica, bergamot, and amber, and patchouli. I forgot that one, and patchouli. But the note breakdown does not a fragrance make. So what's the difference? Is there much of one? Well, of course, you can't do what I'm doing right here and do a little side by side with the tester strips, but that's not the best way to do it. If you do have both of these and you decide to compare them, do it on skin. The differences are more noticeable there. And of course, I do need to bring up that this bottle is years old, this bottle is months old. So part of the difference here could be down to that. But when I personally take everything into consideration, the note breakdown change, the listing as new, basically the relisting of everything, even though the presentation has stayed pretty much the same other than like the little tweaks and everything, it does come across different. So how so? Well, when you first spray these on, the new version actually leans more into vanilla. It's warm, smooth, sweet, that tonka really at the forefront as soon as you spray it on. Again, talking about the new version, and the way the tonka hits there is more of a vanilla-like tonka, which kind of brings it a little bit more in line with what's really popular right now, men's fragrances with vanilla. And a lot of it. There are a lot of scents out there nowadays that are hitting that vanilla pipe. Oh God, that sounded really bad. That's, that vanilla, they're hitting that vanilla sauce. They're hitting that vanilla, they're on drugs. Vanilla drugs is what I meant. Oh God, no recovery. So that's how the new version hits when you first spray it on. The original version, that one hits with more of like an herbal feel when you first spray it on. That angelica from Rugrats, you know. So it has this slightly green aromatic lift to it when you first spray it on, the original version. Obviously still tonka, good amount of it. That's really the main thing, the main facet of Luna Rossa Black, the tonka. If you love it, you're gonna love this. If you hate it, you're gonna hate it. But the original had that little bit of an aromatic touch, that aromatic edge, that herbal kind of facet when you first spray it on, that gives it a more interesting open. It also has like a slight rubbery feel to it, talking about the original. Kind of sweet as well, of course, that rubbery sweetness. But you could compare that to Midnight in Paris and Bulgari Black, 2 discontinued fragrances. They had kind of a similar thing going on. The original Luna Rossa Black has that, which also makes the original Luna Rossa Black pretty unique when you first spray it on. I mean, yeah, it smells like those 2 other fragrances, so you could say, well, how unique can it be? It smells like those 2 other things. Those 2 other things are dead, bro. Dead. This. No. So if they don't exist anymore, then it suddenly becomes unique again. The new version Off My Skin kind of skips most of that aromatic kind of herbal feel off the top. It's creamier, a little bit sweeter. And that sweetness off the top in the new version is also a little richer. So it's got a nice richness to it. Really mass appealing, like as soon as you spray it on. It feels off the rip, off the top, a little bit like they took a touch of the uniqueness of Luna Rossa Black and kind of went, let's go ahead and just move that over there a little bit. Yeah, that's good. And then they went, okay, cool. Let's go ahead, let's get a little sweets, a little extra sweetness here, and just go ahead and put that right in there. That's good. Just kind of that, you know, this little this little osmosis going on, kind of going side to side, a little bit of this going that way and this going this way. Yeah, despite the pink pepper note that's in there, I mean, that's the whole top, the whole top now. Pink pepper, apparently. You don't get a whole lot of that. Nah, there's not really a whole lot of spiciness. Now, I know pink pepper is not like a spice that's really, you know, in your face, right? So there is that, but you still don't get a whole heck of a lot of that going on here. As they settle, the new version stays pretty consistent with how it was off the rip. The vanilla aspect of the Tonka builds a little bit more, you know, it becomes a little bit more prominent as it dries. You start to get some powdery facets, some powdery aspects that come out. It stays round, smooth, approachable. Again, very easily worn through the mid. It has a little bit of a musk, kind of like a powdery musk that comes out and melts together with that vanilla Tonka mix. In the old version, the original version, that herbal kind of hit from the opening, that fades away as you head through the mid. You get some patchouli that comes out. Also amber. It's got this nice subtle warmth that kind of works its way up from the base as the fragrance dries down. A real faint hint of earthiness in the original from the patchouli, which again, most of that has been pretty much smoothed out in the new version. Now into the dry down, these do start to align a lot more. So it's not that they're drastically different, to be fair, in the opening and the mid. Like if I spray this on, it's Luna Rossa Black to me. It's just when you start doing the side by side, you'll go, oh, okay, yeah, we got some changes here. But it's not that kind of make it or break it kind of deal where you smell it and you go, oh my God, this is like 99% different. No, different, yes. Massively different, not really, no. But yeah, into the dry down, they start to align a lot more. They become real similar. Cozy, Tonka, amber, musk kind of base going on with both of them. I will say, you know, drawing comparisons side by side, there are a couple differences in the dry down, but it's not anything that's really make it or break it. To me, the original leans a little more ambery. It's less sweet overall, owing to the more like vanilla kind of feel of the new version. And also the original, the texture of the scent, it's like a little bit drier when it hits your nose. It just overall feels a little more grounded. And then the new version, as I've said a couple times, it's leaning a little closer to what's really popular nowadays. Vanilla, sweet scents, done in the Luna Rossa Black style. It's pleasant, it's polished, but it does come across maybe a little more simple than the original. Yeah, I know, it's like, oh, well, 3 notes, it is simpler. Like, that's the barometer for all scents. You just look at the note breakdown and you go, that one's got 3 notes. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Then you look at another one, you go, that one's got 36 notes. Oh, my masterpiece. Oh, it's not really how it works, but in this situation, I guess it kind of is. Now, in terms of performance, with Luna Rossa Carbon, they are pretty much the same. With these two, the original for me performs better. Projects a little bit better, lasts a little bit longer. So if you do, you know, 3 sprays of this over here, 3 sprays of this over here, the original is gonna push just a little bit more and it's gonna stick around a little bit longer. And it's not that the new version is like a skin scent right away or anything like that. It still performs, it still gets the job done. It's just this one is better as far as performance goes. Both of these are gonna be used though at the same time. They're both fall wintertime fragrances. They're both more of an evening scent than a daytime scent. So, you know, same thing going on with both as far as that goes, which that's pretty much par for the course. You wouldn't expect the new Luna Rossa Black to be, you know, middle of summertime, daytime fragrance, so yeah, it's not. Now, to be clear here, once again, to 99% of people, it's not gonna matter that there's a difference between these two. Because for most people, this new version's gonna do the job just as well as the original. In the air, is there a difference? Sure, but is it a huge one? No, and nobody's really gonna go, hey man, smell that Luna Rossa Black. Gotta tell you, that's the new version.
What? No way.
I can tell. That will never happen. You could live to be 5,000 years old. That'll never happen. It does not really matter. But if you're a massive fan of the OG, it's good to know that if you get a new bottle and you smell it and you think, it's a little different than I remember, you're not alone. But reiterating what I said at the beginning of the video once again, if you purchase from retail at this point, you are getting this version. This is what you're gonna get. If you purchase from a discounter, Who knows? Maybe you get the original iteration, maybe you don't. But one thing is for certain, this is being phased out if it has not already been done so. Nah, words, I'm good with them. And I think I said this earlier, but the new version, basically, it started to pop up everywhere. So this is one of those things where, at least in the US, they've been kind of getting all their ducks in a row, it would seem. And then they were like, okay, cool, go ahead and roll it out. The new version, the new note breakdown, the new description, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what we got. That's what's going on. If I could take just one of these for my own use, I would take the original because I do think that it's slightly more unique, a little more character to it, but the new version, it smells like Luna Rossa Black, just given a touch up, more of a vanilla forward tonka, and the toning down of a couple of the elements in the original fragrance that maybe some people would not gravitate towards quite so much, which I guess from a business standpoint probably makes sense because it's like, okay, this is really popular right now. Let's go ahead, let's do this little tweak, this little change, let's roll it out there. You know, it's not like a complete top to bottom overhaul where the entire thing is getting switched up. You know, Why Le Parfum, like that was a much bigger change. This is more, okay, here are the dials for the fragrance and we're gonna take the vanilla and we're gonna bump that up a little bit. You know, we're gonna take the aromatics, bump that down a little bit, that kind of situation going on. So I love the smell of both of these. Absolutely killer. But like I said, if I was gonna take just one, I'll stick with that one, which is the same thing I said with the Luna Rossa Carbon. I'll take the original. Huh. Am I becoming an old fuddy-duddy? No. Speaking in generalities here really quickly, don't really worry too much about the changes of Luna Rossa Carbon, Luna Rossa Black. They're tweaked, they're modified, but at the end of the day, at least they're still around and they're still doing their thing. Just a little update, no big deal. So there we go, guys. I want to thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.